As I say in Spanish, horrible. 7 to 8. 9.2, I like it, Mary. All right, Mary Page is 9.2. Taylor, 7.1. Laura, 8. Elizabeth, 8. Anne-Marie, 8. Lindsay, 7. I have to go Spanish. Catherine, 7.5. Anna, Annie, 8. Amy, I missed. Oh, AJ. I'm so sorry to hear that, sir. So, what I was saying is, if you all would, the way that I'm going to lead this session is, I'm going to act like I'm the teacher, and then you all are students, and I'm going to lead you all through a presentation. On my screen, I'm going to show you the teacher view, which when I actually teach, normally I don't have the teacher view up for the whole time. I only have teacher view when I want students to see their responsives. And oftentimes I do this anonymously, and I'll toggle back and forth. So essentially what I'm saying is, if you don't have two screens, I would suggest that you split your screen up into a couple of components, a couple of parts. The part with me on it so that you can see the screen that the teacher view. And then the other side, you'll put, you'll be answering the questions as we go through a Desmos presentation. So I'm going to just jump in right now, and first, let's see, show you the intro, and then I'm going to create a class with you all. Oh, awesome! AJ's saying that there are lots of extra monitors. If you don't have a second screen right now already, I highly, highly recommend it. I have a second screen and an iPad, which I find to be incredibly helpful. So welcome to this introduction. I'm not going to go through all of this. Really, the only thing you need to know here is once you hop in to this presentation, which I have not shared with you with this into this lesson, to move to the next slide, you either need to click next up here, or just use your little arrow button on your keyboard. Also, you can copy and paste any of these slides that you like afterwards by just clicking this button, and then you'll be able to insert this into your own presentation. That's just so that you know that going forward. Super brief intro as to what Desmos is. It's not just for math teachers anymore, and I see that we have some math teachers on here. The thing that I love about Desmos, and the thing you will see today, is you can see on a second-by-second, moment-by-moment basis what every single student is doing, what question they're on, and you can determine what question they're on, and you can block them into certain questions. So I'm going to do this as if you all were. I'm going to go through and you'll see how easy it is to create a class. So I'm going to go into Manage Classes. Again, this is all recorded, so you don't need to write any of this down. I'm going to call this Desmos Demo 1, just had to look at the date, 112. You've got it down here, Desmos Demo 112. I'll just click on this link, copy it. I'm going to put it in the chat. Once you get in, so just go into that code, log in using your Google login. It should take less than a minute. The other thing I need to do, actually, that I forgot to do I couldn't do prior to this, is I have to share this activity with you all. So I'm going to put this activity, introducing, yep, this is it. I'm going to now assign to your classes, assign to Desmos Demo 112. And now, because I hadn't assigned it before, you may have to go to student.desmos.com and just hit refresh, and it should show up for everybody. If you see it, can you put yes in the chat, or just give me a thumbs up? Actually, you're all on screen. I'm not used to having people on screen. All right, cool. Wonderful. So you all are in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to open this activity, and we're going to go through it together. You will notice that I have locked you into the first couple of screens, or at least, actually, no, I haven't done that because I couldn't assign it ahead of time because I hadn't created the class. So in just a second, it'll show up. All right, I'm going to lock you all into screens. So all I have to do to lock you into screen is I'm going to click on the pacing. I'm just going to lock you into screens 3 through 5 right now. So again, what you see now is what I don't always show this to my students, but what you see now is what I see as a teacher. Okay, so if you all if you're in Desmos right now, these highlighted boxes, these blue boxes, those indicate to me where you are in this presentation. Okay, so I can say, all right, I don't want anyone to write, pause. Now you guys can't do anything. So I'm in the middle of instruction, I'm teaching, I don't want you to do anything. Okay, pause. All right, now you're back. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna walk us through this presentation. You can stay on slide 3, or if you're really anxious to get ahead and see a couple things that you can do in the check-in screens, go for it. Check-in screen, this just basically says, I have like a bank of 40 or 50 of these that I've got from other teachers that I'd be glad to share with you all. If you take a second, go to number 4 and just move the battery to how you're feeling. Now you can see that on my screen, I can see students' responses. I can see them with their names now, but again, I almost never do it with their names. I almost always click on this anonymize button, and when I click on it, you're gonna see your name changes as well. Somewhere on, I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere on your screen, it'll give you a famous mathematician's name. Okay, so this famous mathematician. Now you can see, I can look at this summary either as individual responses here, or I can look at it as an overlay. So I can see, okay, look guys, so many students are doing well. Most students are feeling positive right now. Some are feeling energetic, and a lot of you all are feeling tired, right? So you can quickly just check in, get a temperature check. Great, and what you can see is you start typing right here. You could type, if you want to say more, type a response, and immediately as you're typing, if you want to play with it, like, oh, this is neat, let's see if it actually works. Someone, fan, who we can now see who it is. On my other screen, normally what I do is I have it unanonymized so I can see who the students are that are responding. So that's why I have a couple screens. You can have the same presentation open on as many screens as you want, and it will show you, you can have a summary screen, again, this screen open on your iPad, and then you can have this screen. Oh, Taylor, what I would suggest, whenever students have problems with that, just click on refresh. Refresh your Chrome page every once in a while, or if you're using, it really works best on Chrome and Safari. So anyways, that's number 4. Number 5, another just baby Yoda check-in. I don't know, if you want to do this. I just wanted to show you there's another option. Yeah, or you might have to restart your computer. Exactly. All right, great. So I think we are now, I should say this. I am going to fly through this presentation. I do not go this fast with my students, but out of the interest of using your time well and the fact that you have access to this now and you can go back and look at these more carefully and closely, I'm just going to kind of fly through this. Yeah, baby Yoda. So you can look at these. I can look at, again, the individual responses. Okay, someone's sleepy. Oh, Clay's feeling sleepy, etc. I can anonymize. I can do overlay, but let's get over to the next part. I have not opened this question for you yet, but why don't I'm gonna pace us into this question so that everyone goes to screen 3 through, all right, I'm gonna pace us into screens 6 through 10. So some of you all might not want to create anything, meaning you just want a check-in screen, and then you just want blank screens, and you just want to be able to copy this presentation day after day after day. I say presentation, this lesson day after day after day, because you don't know what you're going to ask any class, because you want flexibility, because you don't want to have to plan it out. And I will say that in the world language world, some of the best teachers, two of the best teachers that I know use Desmos this way. They have a couple check-in screens, and then basically the rest of the presentation is just left open. They might put in some multiple choice question, like one, you can add multiple choice questions where you just have option A, option B, option C, option D, option E. And then afterwards, they figure out what option A is, what option B is, what option C is. But let me show you what I mean, how you use this in a really super, I don't know, unscripted way, even though mine is somewhat scripted because I wanted to think about a question or two that I could ask you. So question 7, and I'm actually going to pace everybody into question 7. So question 7, and I can restrict you just to this page. What I'd like for you all to answer is, why are you interested in learning more about Desmos? And it doesn't, whatever you want to write, really, I just want to show you how this works. And as you're typing, look on my screen. This is the power. I immediately know who is with me and who is not. And in fact, I'm going to go to the summary screen to see if, and I'm not trying to call anyone out, it's totally fine, but I can see Amy is still back on 7 or number 6. Amy, is everything okay? You know, that's what you'd say to students. Amy, I see you're having some tech difficulty, and I'm not calling out on Amy. This is just the power of it. It allows you to quickly see who's, oh, Amy just got with us, right? So let's look through this. I want my students to be able to be active. I'm not going to read them all out loud, but more engagement. I want my students to be I want to use interactive tools to create more engaging, more student involvement. Excuse me, learning options to support more students. This is incredible for students with IEPs. What I do on a regular basis is I have this screen up here. I have one student that has written 5 sentences. I have another that's 2, but I know the student that's written 2 sentences was engaged the whole time. So I can say, great job, John. But John doesn't know that Billy or that Jaquan just wrote 15 sentences, right? So I can scaffold their understanding and I can make them feel successful without necessarily showing everybody what they've done. I don't really use this feature that much, but you can actually take, let's say I really like this answer. You can take a screenshot of this and then you can come back to it. Snapshot, you can go here and it takes snapshots of your favorite answers. So let's say that you have, for English or for lots of subjects, that would be helpful. I don't use it that much, probably just because I haven't really played with it, but I thought I would show that to you too. Okay, so I haven't finished reading, but let me quickly skim through this because we're 10 minutes through, which is, yeah, to make sure kids aren't sleeping. What I will say is, before I use this, you all know, or so many of you know that I had done that chat summary where I could see how many times kids had written in the chat. I thought I was on top of it. I thought everything was going great. I used Desmos and I immediately realized that half to a third of my students in every single class were zoning out for much of what I was teaching. And this allowed me to see that and then to correct that almost immediately, to see how it works and see how I can use it to be engaged. Yep, okay, to better engage students. Okay, so you can see how you can ask questions on the fly. I'm gonna go to question 8 now. And question 8, I don't know, you can also have a Google Doc on the side like I do here. And let's just say, what is your favorite, what is your, I'm gonna write favorite animal and why. So on question 8, just write down that answer. And so this can be helpful for students that need the scaffolding of seeing what you're asking as well as hearing it. And this takes no pre-planning, right? I just came up with that one on my own. That was a good one, right? All right, so you all got it. I'm not gonna take any more time. This is the idea. You can see immediately what students are answering. You can anonymize. Now let's go show you some other questions. Oh, if I just want to add a question to the pacing, I just click on this little plus button. And now it doesn't force anyone into this, but if you want to, team, you can go over and actually, I'm not going to force you so you see what this looks like. I've opened it up to 3 questions. So if you want to, go over to question 10. And actually, I'll change this number so it's less confusing, and I'll call this question 10. And this is going to be, I don't know, what is your last name? Okay, I know it's lame, but I'm not, it's still the morning. So if you want to, on question 10, you can click on what's your last name. Now, I normally don't use this with my students, but you will notice that in the bottom in the right-hand corner of your, not screen, but right below your answer, there's a show students their classmates' responses. I assume that shares the classmates' responses with their students, but I've never used it because I always just share them myself. So if you want to, click on it and you all will be able to see what it does. And if you want, you can put it in the chat and let me know. Awesome, that's it. Now, I'm gonna pop us over to the next type of activity because my goal today for the first 20 minutes, the next 7 minutes, is to show you all the different types of activities that are possible. And then after that, I wanna show you how to create one once you've gotten a sense for what's possible. Okay, so pacing. I'm gonna move us into card sort. Let me just make sure I've got this right, yep. 11 through 14, restrict the scene. Restrict us to 11 through 14. Now again, I go to the summary. I'll be able to see who's with us and who's still back on the prior question. And if you want to see, just mess around with it. And you can see when you go to another question, what happens on my screen is that I can see where you are. So I have no question as to whether you are on this question with me. And in fact, if I say, oh, I want them to stop playing, stop, and they can't. Okay. So let's go. I'm just going to walk through card sort. It's super simple. You can start sorting if you already understand how to do it, but basically all you have to know is the cards have to snap in together. This activity is incredibly quick to create. You can use phrases. So I use it for vocab most of the time, but you could match a vocab picture with an image. You could have common themes. So if I can't remember which example I ended up using because I had a bunch. Let me see which one it was that I picked from. Yeah, okay, so exactly, this was common themes. So universities, the school, the state, not the state, the city that they're in, and their emblem or whatever, okay? So go ahead and try that, and then go over to this right here where it says check your answers. All you have to do is click on that little check your answer, and it'll check my work, and it will tell you if you got those right or wrong. You don't have to put that on there, but if you want to, it's super easy. It takes a really small amount of changing around a couple things in the code, but I have instructions, a quick video, like a minute video of how to do that I will share with you, that I have in the resources that I'll with you at the end. Okay, so team, if you want, you don't have to. No one has to do anything here, but if you'd like to, you can say how you might be able to use this type of activity in your class just for like 20 or 30 seconds. And you can see what some other teachers, how they think they might be able to use card sort. Vocab, yep, basic vocabulary. To sort reactions, exactly. Teaching angle relationship in geometry, absolutely. Yep, matching inequalities, great. You all can think about it, really, it's just to spur some sort of self-reflection. So I know that I'm moving quickly, and but I'm going to keep moving quickly. So let's go into the next part. I'm going to, instead of being annoying, which my students really don't like when I do this, and I bop them out of questions when they're mid-sentence, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to pace us into questions 14 through 21, so that we can, if you're still writing, you can still write on question 14. But if you want to, if you want, you can move along with me. So these are a couple different things that you can do. Sketch and ordered lists in Desmos. Just take a minute here or two and go through and do whichever ones of these you want to. And I just wanted to show you what's possible. So I'll kind of watch where you are. There's no right or wrong place to be right now. And then I think you'll be able to figure it out just by playing around with it. But I wanted to give you a minute or two to do that. So feel free just to pop from 16 to 17 to 18 to 19 to 20 if you'd like to. Oh, and 21, obviously, if you want to do that. But 21 is more the reflection. So you can see I tried to put some examples of art, history, science, just to show you all what's possible. From the teacher perspective, feel free just to ignore my words and just keep working if you'd like to. But again, from the teacher perspective, I can look at individual responses. I can anonymize this. Yes, atoms, exactly. I tried to get couple science things in there. I can also look at the overlay. So I want to see, okay, let's just quick check to see how much my students understand. Maybe in Spanish, I have a scene and then I describe one of the things that's happening in the scene and the students have to circle it. Maybe it's identifying the parts of a rifle. Maybe it is, whatever the case may be, however you could use this in the class in any number of ways. You can see number 17, highlight or circle the states that Donald Trump won. Again, I have it anonymized. Now I'm going to unanonymize it. Anonymized. I'll say this again. I always have two screens open with this. At first, you might not want to, but for me, I find it to be really helpful. Okay, I'm cognizant of the time, and we have a couple more minutes until I want to show you how to do this. So if hopefully this showed you some ideas. What you'll find is that the writing is a little bit awkward on this. And so the way that I found the best is to use two fingers when you draw. But anyways, if you all are interested, you can pop over to question, and you've not gotten there yet. There's one that's different than the others. I was going to try and make some sort of Sesame Street joke, but I can't remember exactly how that song goes. Like, one of these things is different than the other, something like that. So bad joke because I couldn't do it. No delivery. Failure. Okay, but you can see on question 20, you can reorder things. So this could be historical events. Order these in the order in which they happen. Go through. Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you for saving me there. You can see here, I can see what students thought was the order of this one. Oh, students thought in this example, it's a unicorn, right? That it's a mythical, usually a white animal, generally depicted. Okay, that was the most popular. Then the next one was second most often. This is actually pretty cool. I've never used this one. The next one is fell into the third one down, fell into that category. Okay. Anyways, team, those are things. There are a couple more. We're about to do the last couple. Number 21 says, do you? And I'm going to pop everyone over into 21 now, just because I'm interested to see that answer. So, okay, now everyone has to go to 21. Or, I mean, if you're not in this lesson, it's okay. You don't have to, but totally fine if you think no. How do you think you could use it? You all have already been thinking about this, and want to make sure that we move along. So I'm going to pop us into the next question. Question 21. Quick check-ins. You can do a check-in in the middle. We already basically did this, so if you don't want to go to question 22, you don't have to. And then I'm going to go, and I am going to, well, actually, let me see if I'm going to actually go back to 21. I apologize, because I should. Sketching out word problems, graphs, labeling vocab, creating pictures for vocabulary, anatomy diagrams, love the maps, labeling the periodic table. In many ways, you and others have shared, graphing, fun using a poll type thing. So I'm going to go to pop us over to questions 23 through 27, and then show you how to create some things. This is multiple choice. Again, you don't have to pre-create these questions. If you prefer, it would be totally fine just to label A, B, C, D, E, and then you ask a multiple choice question and you ask students to identify it without having even created it ahead of time. So again, I'm showing you the summary screen if you want to see what this looks like. Summary screen shows me where every student is in class right now and what question they are on. So this is great because I know that 3/4 of the students or 2/3 of the students that are engaged have had a chance to go through and do the next 4 questions. It is time to move on. If you didn't finish, guys, you can come back to this lesson afterwards, send me an email once you've done it, and I'll check. Spoiler, almost no one does that, and that's okay, because it reminds them they need to be engaged in that moment. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward, multiple choice questions. You can try this one. As you see on my screen, it gives me a quick summary. This is like an immediate poll. So you say, do you all like option A, B, or C, or D better? Quick summary shows I can real time see what your answers are. Okay, another one. You can have images, right? So you can use images as multiple choice questions. Super simple to do, incredibly easy. All right, now I'm interested in this one. And then this is the last question before I go on to the last one. So I'm going to pop us over to 27. What percentage of the time, and I'm going to anonymize this one so that no one feels singled out, and I will not show this one. My students know I almost never show their names. What percentage of the time would you guess that your students are fully engaged during a typical class? Yep. I used to be in this honestly don't know, but I probably would have thought 80 to 90%, but I was definitely wrong. And what you'll see immediately as soon as you start using this is what the actual percent is. And then you will see my experience is that percentage will go higher and higher and higher as students realize they are being graded based on their engagement in class. Okay, so thanks team. Let's go to the next one. The next one says, based on what you've seen so far, do you think that it could help students to engage more? Why or why not? You don't have to click on the share with class. And it's okay to say no. I always tell my students, or I'm not sure. I have, Casey. My students have, if they can get into a Google Meet, I almost never have a student that has tech issues with this. I should say that it's kind of like if they can get into a Google Meet, and if they can get into a Google Meet and they can do anything else while being in the Google Meet, they can do Desmos. It uses less bandwidth than Nearpod, Paradoc, based on everything I've read. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Catherine. Awesome. Because it's so bare bones, right? So if they can do any of those other things, they're set, which is part of what I love. Some people don't love it because it's so bare bones. Yep. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to show you all now. Please don't close out of this because I have a couple of reflection questions that I'd love to get you all to. But if you all, we're going to create something now. And I'm going to say, yep, students, I forgot to read these answers. Oh my God, or OMA, yes. I feel like half the time I'm begging for one student to respond in the chat. Yes. More immediate feedback, real-time feedback. Yes. We can see what they're typing and doing. We'll make them more engaged. Accountability, hopeful. Spread the love. A teacher friend of mine convinced me and tried to convince me to do this and do this and do this. And I resisted for like a month and a half. And then I tried it and I thought, why didn't I do this? So let's go to the next. I'm not going to pop us over to the next slide quite yet, but the next slide says how to get started with Desmos. I'm going to show us how to get started right now. So this is recorded, right? It's not totally intuitive how to get to create activities, but I'm going to try and make it easier. So I'm going to go to custom